Om Ajnana-timirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapad Shri Gurum Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagara Gunatan Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sanalalita Shri Vishakhanvitam Cha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vanchakalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So, we are in chapter 2 and we are seeing verses from this section. So, last time we saw about Nishkama Karma, how to do work without result, and how to practice Nishkama Karma is beautiful work with detachment to result. So, that we saw in verse number 47. And now, in this verse number 48, is how to be situated in yoga. That is, so to do work but without attainment to results. So that means uh, to be equipoised in success and failure, and to be equipoised in again heat and cold. So this theme of being equipoised comes again and again in Bhagavad Gita. So here also we'll see this again and again, further also this will come. So this is a very important aspect in one's life, because if we see, majority of people gets distressed if there is some pain, some wrong thing happening in their life, and that happens too often. And therefore, Bhagavad Gita has this theme which is repeated again and again: be equipoised, be equipoised, and be equipoised. So let us see this verse. Yogastha kuru karmani sangam tyakta dhananjaya siddhi asiddhayo samo bhutva samatvam yoga yuchyate. Yogastha, equipoise, kuru, perform, karmani, your duties, sangam, attachment, tyakta, giving up, dhananjaya, O Arjuna, siddhi, asiddhiyo, in success and failure, sama, equipoise, bhutva, becoming, samatvam, equanimity, yoga, uchyate is called. Perform your duty, equipoise, O Arjuna, abandoning all attachment to success and failure. Such equanimity is called yoga. So here again, Krishna is telling Arjuna that do your duty and in a balanced way, and do not be attached to success and failure. And if you do like this, then such equanimity is called yoga. So actually, yoga means that to concentrate our mind and to fix it on Supreme Personality of Godhead. So purport, Krishna tells Arjuna that he should act in yoga. And what is that yoga? Yoga means to concentrate the mind upon the Supreme by controlling the ever-disturbing senses. And who is the Supreme? The Supreme is the Lord. And because he himself is telling Arjuna to fight, Arjuna has nothing to do with the results of the fight. Gain or victory are Krishna's concern. Arjuna is simply advised to act according to the dictation of Krishna. So, this is not just Krishna telling to Arjuna. For us also, uh, gain or victory is Krishna's concern. Our work is to take names of Lord Krishna, and it is Krishna's work to maintain us. And if we see any activity which we do in our life, we are never assured of success every time. Sometimes we are successful, sometimes we fail. So when we are successful, we think that's our endeavor. We have done so much things and so much work we have done. But when we are fraught with failures, we are caught with failures, then what we think? Oh, this was wrong. The situation was not wrong. The things were not proper, or sometimes my health was not good, or we have so many excuses. But we should understand that ultimately, whether we are successful or whether we are failure, both is in Krishna's hand. We cannot do much in both the conditions. What we can do is act according to the dictates of the Shastras, and that is that we can just pray to Lord and do whatever our duty is without being attached to the results. The following of Krishna's dictation is real yoga, and this is practiced in the process of called Krishna consciousness. By Krishna consciousness only can one give up the sense of proprietorship. One has to become the servant of Krishna or the servant of Krishna. CC Madhya 13.80. There is a right way to discharge duty in Krishna consciousness, which alone can help one to act in yoga. So, difference between Krishna consciousness and mundane consciousness or material consciousness is, in material world, all wants to come boss, 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 and boss. So everyone wants whatever position one may be, he wants to become the CEO, or whatever the higher position may be. But in spiritual world, everyone wants to become servant of servant of servant. So becoming a servant coming in a lower position is considered very glorious in spiritual times. And this concept has now been very popular in corporate world also. That a leader tries to help his subordinates to achieve success, and in that they are successful. So, if there is a this is a way in which goes, then the company overall will be successful. Otherwise, what happens is one person is successful, but the whole company is a failure because it has not produce so many successful persons. But if the consciousness of each person is that other person wins, then what happens is overall the company gains. And therefore, here also in Krishna consciousness, everyone tries that other person comes closer to Krishna. And in this way, each tries to serve others. And this is spiritual consciousness. So this is the way how we should act. Arjuna is a Kshatriya, and as such, he is participant in the Varnashrama Dharma institution. It is said in the Vishnu Purana that in the Varnashrama Dharma, the whole aim is to satisfy Vishnu. No one should satisfy himself as is the rule in the material world, but one should satisfy Krishna. So, unless one satisfies Krishna, one cannot correctly observe the principles of Varnashram Dharma. Indirectly, Arjuna was advised to act as Krishna told him. So, see, in Varnashram Dharma, we see there are four divisions, meaning the Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras. So these divisions are made according to the birth and the qualification, but the whole aim is not to divide or not to, there is no wrong intention. The whole intention of this Varnashram Dharma or this dividing into Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudra is that all of them should try to please Vishnu in whatever way they can. But after some time, it has been misused, and then we think that Shudra means somebody is being given a bad word or something. But actually, it means that Shudra means somebody who has physical power and he can do more work physical than intellectually. So, gradually, the system was made so that everyone progresses in the spiritual life and goes back to Godhead. And therefore, uh, the whole center of attraction is Krishna in a sadhaka's life. And if this is done, then everybody in this world would be satisfied. So, Krishna is the original proprietor of everything in this material world, and we should take whatever in our quota and should keep the things for others. So, we can take whatever is our need, but so the material world cannot provide for our greed. So whatever is our need, Krishna provides. But if we go beyond that, then there is chaos. And therefore, if we think that Krishna is the proprietor and we are not, then we will not take whatever is unnecessary. We will only take what is necessary for our things to grow. And this is a way of living a dharmic life. So now this verse number 49. Here Krishna tells that one who desires the fruits of their actions are kripana. So kripana means miser. They are misers. And this is a seed verse for the next chapter also. Because here Arjuna will misunderstand this verse and will ask a question in the next chapter, chapter number 3. So please mark this verse because this will lead us to next chapter. So let us see this verse. दूरेण हि यावरं कर्म बुद्धियोगा धनञ्जय बुद्धौ शरणम् अनविच्छ कृपणा फलहेतवा. Durena, discard it at a long distance. He certainly avaram abominable karma activity, buddhi yoga on the strength of Krishna consciousness. Dhananjaya, O conqueror of wealth, Buddha in such consciousness, Sharanam full surrender, Anavicha try for, Kripana misers, Palahetava, those desiring fruitive results. Translation. Uh, O Dhananjaya, keep all abominable activities far distant by devotional service, and that conscience surrender unto the Lord. Those who want to enjoy the fruits of their work are misers. So Krishna is telling that one who wants to enjoy the fruit of their work are misers. So we should not become misers and therefore work for Krishna. So karma can mean different things actually. Karma can mean action. Karma can mean reaction, that is fruits of action. And therefore, we should understand this word properly. And karma can also mean kama karma or desire. Desire is actually that this is what I want. So here, if we see, Krishna is telling that do your work, but do not expect results. So not expecting the fruits of their work is what Krishna is saying. But Arjuna will understand that do not do the work only. So this is a difference between understanding of both. And this is what Arjuna will ask the question in the next chapter, and then Krishna will elaborate on this and clarify the doubt. So purport. One who has actually come to understand one's constitutional position as the eternal servitor of the Lord gives up all engagement save work in Krishna consciousness. So one who knows that he is an eternal servant of Krishna, he will do all work for Krishna and all other engagements he will leave. As already explained, Buddhi Yoga means transcendental loving service to the Lord. Such devotional service is a right course of action for the living entity. Only misers desire to enjoy the fruit of their own work just to be further entangled in material bondage. So, there are two things which is mentioned here. First is that those who want to enjoy the fruit of the work are misers. And second, they are further entangled in material bondage. So why they are the misers? Because they are not the one who are responsible for the result of the work. There are other factors also. And second, one who is attached to the results also gets entangled further. So he cannot get out of this material world. And therefore, Krishna advises that do not be entangled in the material world, and therefore do not expect to enjoy the fruits of the work. So except for work in Krishna consciousness, all activities are abominable because they continually bind the worker to the cycle of birth and death. So see, whatever work we do, if it is not Krishna consciousness, then why it is abominable? Because it binds in the cycle of birth and death. So if somebody does not want to get out of the cycle of birth and death, then he may do some pious work and it is good for him actually because he is going up. But the whole aim of Gita, the whole aim of Prabhupada, his one pointed mission is how a living entity can get out of this material world. And therefore, he is speaking here that one should try to get out of this material world, and all other activities except for Krishna consciousness, they are abominable because it binds the workout cycle of birth and death. So whenever we read some purports, whenever he reads a commentary, whenever he reads Acharya, we should know the goal, the purpose, or the context in which they are speaking. If we are not aware of the context, then what will happen is unnecessarily we will create uh, some quarrel between the people, and therefore unnecessarily we will distance others from taking to Krishna consciousness. So we should appreciate whatever others are doing uh, because they are also growing. At the same time, when we do work, we do everything for Krishna because we want to get out of this material world. Until the time somebody doesn't have the goal of getting out of this material world, one may be actually motivated to do some pious work, and that is useful for him to grow further. One should therefore never desire to be the cause of work. Everything should be done in Krishna consciousness for the satisfaction of Krishna. So whatever we do for satisfaction of Krishna. Misers do not know how to utilize the assets of riches which they acquire by good fortune or by hard labor. So misers are those who do not know where the money is to be used because they achieve a lot, but after good fortune or hard labor, but they don't know where it is to be used. One should spend all energies working in Krishna consciousness, and that will make one's life successful. Like misers, unfortunate person do not employ the human energy in the service of the Lord. So, whatever we have, either money or influence or speaking abilities or any connections, whatever we have, we should use all in the service of Krishna. Otherwise, we'll be bound in this material world. And our aim is to go back to God, to the spiritual world. And second thing is, if we use something in the service of Krishna, that person also gets the benefit. Suppose a flower is offered to the Lord, then what happens is the plant from which the flower is offered gets a chance to take a human birth. And that is a chance where the plant can also do devotional service in the next life. Similarly, the money which we use for Krishna service, maybe we may take some donation from others or whatever maybe. So that person also gets Agyat Sukruti, and then he can also practice devotional service. So everybody gets a chance to get out of this bondage of material world. Whoever does some part in devotional service, maybe knowingly or maybe unknowingly. Like example of medicine is given. So when doctor prescribes the medicine, we take the medicine. So if we don't have faith or we have faith, still the medicine works. So when we get medicine, we don't check, oh, what is there in this medicine? Like powder, let me check, and then I eat. No, we just take. And we know the effect by the results we get. So like this, whatever is done in Krishna consciousness is always beneficial. It should be anukul. That is the only thing. So the person who has lot of wealth and everything, if he doesn't employ for Krishna, anyways, after he's dead, everything will be taken away. So therefore, is unfortunate, and he cannot take the benefit of what he has. So let's see the next verse. So again, Krishna is saying that discard the good and bad results. Buddhi yukto jahatiha ube sukrute duskrute tasmad yogaya yujyasya yoga karmashu kaushalam. Buddhi Yukta, one who is engaged in devotional service, Jahati can get rid of Iha in this life, Ube both Sukruta Dushkrute, good and bad results. Tasmat, therefore, Yogaya for the sake of devotional service, Yujyasya to be so engaged, Yoga, Krishna consciousness, Karmashu in all activities, Kaushalam art. The man engaged in devotional service rids himself of both good and bad reactions even in this life. Therefore, strive for yoga, which is the art of all work. So, sometimes we want to get rid of bad reactions. But here, Krishna is saying that if you engage in devotional service, you get rid of both good and bad reactions. So, if we want to go back to Godhead, we need to get rid of good reactions also. Suppose we give some charity, and if you want to have the good results of taking whatever result we get from giving charity, then we need to come back to material world. And if we come back to material, it is not only that we'll receive some good reaction, there will be some bad reaction also. So ultimately, we need to get rid of both the good and bad results, and therefore, devotional service means that we get rid of both, and therefore we should strive for this. Purport: since time immemorial, every living entity has accumulated the various reactions of his good and bad work. As such, he is continuously ignorant of his real constitutional position. Once ignorance can be removed by the instruction of the Bhagavad Gita, which teaches one to surrender unto Lord Sri Krishna in all respects and become liberated from the chained victimization of action and reaction, birth after birth. Arjuna is therefore advised to act in Krishna consciousness, the purifying process of resultant action. So, uh, the instruction of Bhagavad Gita is to surrender to Lord Krishna. Why? Because to get liberated from chained victimization. So the word is very useful. So chained victimization. So we are victim and a chained victim of action and reaction. So birth after birth is going on and there is no way out. It is like a, a vicious cycle. When one is caught in a vicious cycle, it's not easy to get out of the cycle. And like this, every action we do gives rise to a reaction, and every reaction again gives rise to another action. And like this, birth after birth, we have become uh, chained in this material bodies one after another. And therefore, if we get a chance to become Krishna consciousness some way or other, that is a good fortune we have, and we should take benefit of this. So, further in verse number 51, let's see. So, here Krishna gives examples of how previously also this has been done. So, you also follow. Karmajam buddhi yukta hi phalam tvakta manishina janma bandha vinirmukta padam gachanti anamayam. Karmajam, due to fruitive activities, buddhi yukta, being engaged in devotion service, he certainly phalam results, tyakta, giving up, manishini, manishinas, great sages or devotees, janma bandha, from the bondage of birth and death, vinirmukta, liberated, padam, position, gachanti, they reach, anamayam, without miseries. Translation: by thus engaging devotional service to the Lord, great sages or devotees free themselves from the results of work in the material world. In this way, they become free from the cycle of birth and death and attain the state beyond all miseries by going back to God. So again, here Krishna is giving Arjuna an example that whatever I have told, it's not impractical. It's not that some mythology or all. Previously also, great sages and devotees have freed themselves from the result of work in the material world. And they have been freed from the cycle of birth and death, and therefore you also follow that path. Purport: the liberated living entities belong to that place where there are no material miseries. The Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 14, verse 58 says, Shamashitaye pada pallava plavam mahat padam punya yasho murari pavambudir vatsa padam param padam 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 yat vipadam natesham. So, for one who has accepted the boat of the lotus feet of the Lord, who is the shelter of the cosmic manifestation and is famous as Mukunda, or the giver of mukti, the ocean of material world, is like the water contained the calf's footprint. Parampadam, or the place where there is no material miseries. Or Vaikunta is his goal, not the place where there is danger at every step of the life. So, in this material world, it is said, Padam Padam Yata Vipadam. So, every step we take, there is danger in every step. Every step there is danger. But in Vaikunta, there are no material miseries. There is no problems. There are no uh, dangers. And when we take the shelter of Krishna, the whole ocean of material world. So ocean, if we know, ocean is very huge, very, very huge. To cross the ocean is not easy. There are so many swimmers who want to cross the ocean and they are lost because when you go in the ocean, you cannot know the direction where to go. So they want to go, but so many are lost. And like this ocean of material is very huge and one can be easily drawn in the material ocean. But when one just practices devotion service, then what happens? The whole material ocean, the water contained the ocean of material world, it comes just in the shape of a calf footprint. So the water contained in this material world becomes very less. And therefore, one can easily cross over this material world where and go to a place where there is no danger. So this is the glory of devotional service, and this is the way one can easily cross the material world. See, for other practitioners, like somebody may practice Ashtang Yoga or another Karma Yoga or Jnana Yoga, all it takes long, long time, so many births and births and births. Then they can be liberated from this material world. And still, after liberation, they don't get the highest position. But the bhaktas or devotees, the time taken is very less. At the same time, the position which one gets is very high. And therefore, bhakti is superior to all other paths. And therefore, we should strive to do devotional service daily. Owing to ignorance, one does not know that this material world is a miserable place where there are dangers at every step. So, because of ignorance, see, there are miseries, but if one cannot have the eyes of seeing the misery, then one will not be able to see them. And this is because one is ignorant. Out of ignorance, only less intelligent person try to adjust to the situation by fruitive activities, thinking that the resultant actions will make them happy. So, because most of people are ignorance, what they try is they try to do some good work and think that, oh, if we do this work, we'll be happy. This work will make happy. So they try so many ways, but we see that none are happy. They do not know that no kind of material body anywhere within the universe can give life without miseries. So this body, this material body which we have, it is inbuilt with miseries. So because it is inbuilt with miseries, whatever we do, wherever we go, there will never be happiness. Because uh, it is not made so, consciously it is not made so. Whereas the spirit soul or the spiritual body is constantly Sat Chid and Anand. it will always be happy. And therefore, Bhagavatam says that we should not strive even for the place of Brahmaji, because it is also still in the material world, and there also birth, that disease, and old age will definitely come. And we should strive only to for the Vaikuntha planets or to go out of this material world. The miseries of life, namely birth, death, old age, and disease, are present everywhere within the material world. So the real miseries of our life are these four: this birth, old age, disease, and death. And therefore, we should try to strive to get out of this material world. But one who understands his real conscious position as the eternal servitor of the Lord and thus knows the positional personality of God, engages himself in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. Consequently, he becomes qualified to enter into the Vaikuntha planets where there is neither material miserable life nor the influence of time and death. So, one who can understand this, at least theoretically, that we are not this body but spiritual soul, what one will do is one will try to engage in the service of the Lord. And then one then will gradually become qualified to enter the Vaikuntha planets. So this Vaikuntha planets, there is no time there. Because there is no time, there is no question of old age and there is no question of death. And therefore there is no birth also there, and everybody is permanently happy. And therefore there is no miserable life and no influence of time and death. To know one's conscious position means to know also the sublime position of the Lord. So if we know that we are spirit soul, then we can also know that Krishna is the Supreme Lord and what is our relationship with the Lord. One who wrongly thinks that a living entity's position and the Lord's position are on the same level is to be understood to be in the darkness and therefore unable to engage himself in the devotional service of the Lord. So sometimes we see that there are some sadhakas who think that after practicing the different yogas will become one with Lord. See, if we become one with Lord, then how can there be relationship? If both are same, then there cannot be relationship, and therefore Lord is Lord and we are small particles. So God, Lord is Vibhu and we are Anu. We are very small particle, and Anu can never become Vibhu. We will never ever become God, and therefore we should always try to become servant of the Lord. He becomes a Lord himself and thus paves the way for the repetition of birth and death. So we will not come to devotional service, and therefore when we want to become Lord, then what happens is we'll again take birth and again that will happen. But one who, understanding that his position is to serve, transfers himself to the service of the Lord, at once becomes eligible for Vaikuntha Loka. Service for the cause of the Lord is called Karma Yoga or Buddhi Yoga, or in a plain verse, devotional service to the Lord. So if we do service for the Lord, it is called Karma Yoga. So yoga means to unite with Lord and karma means to do work. So work in a way which unite to Lord. Or Buddhi Yoga means the same, that use of intelligence or work to unite with the Lord, or devotional service to the Lord. That is all devotional service. So whatever work we do, if we work for Krishna, if we work for satisfaction of the Lord, then automatically it becomes devotional service. Uh, and therefore, we should strive for yoga or working for the Lord. So next, verse number 52. Yada te moha kalilam buddhi vyatitarishyati tada gantasi nirvedam shotavyasya sutasya cha. Yada, when te, your moha of illusion, kalilam, dense forest, buddhi, transcendent service with intelligence, vyatitarishyati, surpasses, tada, at that time, gantas asi, you shall go, nirvedam, callousness, shotavas yasya, toward all that is to be heard, shutasya, all that is already heard, cha also. Translation: When your intelligence has passed out of the dense forest of delusion, you shall become indifferent to all that has been heard and all that is to be heard. Purport. There are many good examples in the lives of the great devotees of the Lord, of those who became indifferent to the rituals of Vedas simply by devotional service to the Lord. So, uh, there are so many devotees and there are so many examples in the Shastras where they have become indifferent to Vedas, rituals of Vedas by devotional service. So, uh, whatever we do, there needs to be adhikar. So, according to the adhikar, one has one does that. If somebody has karma adhikar, somebody has bhakti adhikar, somebody has jnana adhikar, and therefore, according to the different adhikar, one practices the marg which he takes. And when one has passed out of the dense illusion of forest of all the Vedas and all, then one becomes indifferent to it and then practices devotional service. When a person factually understands that Krishna and his relation with Krishna, he naturally becomes completely indifferent to the rituals of fruity activities. Even though an inexperienced Brahmana, Sri Madanpuri, a great devotee and Acharya, in the line of devotee says, so sometimes uh, some may ask that why does devotee don't practice all the rules regulation of the Shastras given. So it is not that devotees don't practice the rules regulation of Shastras, it is what Shastra one follows. So somebody who has karma adhikar follows Shastras which have the rituals of karma. Because we are devotees of Lord Krishna, we don't follow the karma shastras, but we follow the bhakti shastras. And according to that, bhakti shastras, we follow the rules and regulations. There are some called as nitya dharma and some are naimittik dharma. So nitya dharma or activities are activities related to the soul or our daily activities. And naimittika dharma means the activities related to the body. So these are terminologies. Nitya and Naimittika are used in different books to mean different things. But for us, let us have this understanding that Nitya means something which is eternal. And who is eternal is spirit soul. So Nitya Dharma means the, the dharma of the spirit soul. Whereas Naimittika Dharma means which is not eternal. And which means that Naimittika Dharma means the dharma of the body. So suppose somebody is a Brahmana. So his Naimitika Dharma will be doing Gayatri, Mandana, and Patana, Pathana, Yajana, Yajana, all things. But suppose next life from Brahmana he becomes Kshatriya. He takes birth in the admission. Then what will be Dharma will? His Dharma will change. From he'll now take admission part, he will do some war and some. Suppose next time he becomes a Vaishya or a businessman or something. Again it will change. This is all Naimitika. According to a change of body, dharma changes. Somebody may be born in a Hindu family, may then next life may born in a Muslim or something. Then again his all activity will change. But Nitya means always remains same. So soul is always same. It doesn't change. The body changes, but the soul doesn't change. And therefore, the Nitya Dharma of the soul is to do devotional service. And therefore, when bhaktas or the devotees practices the devotion service means actually the bhaktas are doing the nitya dharma of the soul and which continues. So suppose one practices jnana yoga or karma yoga or anything. So after one is liberated, he leaves all the practice which one is doing. So your jnana yogi may do ashtanga yoga and all whatever he reaches to the state of dhyan, dharana and samadhi. So afterward, what happens is he will leave whatever practice he has done and or wants to get merged in impersonal or whatever is destination. But a devotee is now doing devotion service. That is, he's hearing, chanting, reading, and after getting liberation or going back to Godhead. For us, it means liberation means to attain Vaikuntha planets, and that also Golok Vrindavan, for especially for Gauriya, Madhva Gauriya, Brahma Madhva Gauriya Vaishnavas. So Even after going to the goal of Vrindavan, what will do? The same thing, that is chanting, hearing, and all the things. And therefore, the devotees are only practicing the Nitya Dharma. And therefore, sometimes it seems that the devotees are not following Dharma, but actually the devotees are only following the Nitya Dharma, and that should be considered. And therefore, here we see that Madhavanapuri, a great devotee in Acharya in the line of devotee, says, Sandhya Vandana Bhadramastu Bhavato Bho Snana Tubhyam Namo Bho Deva Pitarascha Tarpana Vidhao Naham Shama Shamyatam Yatra Kwapi Nishatya Yadava Kulottam Sasya Shamadvisha Smaram Smaram Agaharami Tad Alam Manye Kim Andinami. Oh, my prayers 3 times a day, all glory to you. O Bading, I offer my obeisances unto you. O demigods, O far fathers, please excuse me for my inability to offer you my respects. Now, wherever I sit, I can remember the great descent of the Yadu dynasty, Krishna, the enemy of Kamsa, and thereby I can free myself from all sinful bondage. I think this is sufficient for me. So, therefore, this verse has to be understood in proper context, that Srila Madhavendra Puri is following the Nitya Dharma of the soul, and therefore he's saying that, oh, prayers that is Gayatri, doing Gayatri the 3 times in a day. So I will not do, or I will not do bathing and all, or I will, oh, Dhamma goes forward, I will not, please excuse me that I cannot offer you respects. So that is not that I am Madan Puri is offering disrespect to that or something. Or so what Madan Puri is saying here, that I am following the Nitya Dharma of the soul, and therefore the Nitya Dharma of the body which is there in the Vedas, that do your Gayatri, Sandhya Vandanam, and you should then offer Shadha and demigods and all the things. So if I or to please the demigods or forefathers. So if Madan Puri Prabhu is not doing all this, then it's okay, because he has bhakti adhikar and he's following the shastras of the bhakti shastras, and therefore he cannot be accused that he is not following the karma adhikar shastras or the Vedas. And therefore we should have this understanding that adhikar is based on the guna and karma, that is birth, what one has, and what is the qualities he acquired, what adhikar he has. So according to that, one may follow different shastras, and depending on where the level is. So Madhuni Puripad is a bhakti adhikari, and he follows the bhakti shastras like Srimad Bhagavatam and all. So Srimad Bhagavatam, what he tells is Shavanam Kirtanam. So main is to hear, to chant the glories of Krishna and all. So that is the thing which need to be practiced, and therefore there should be no confusion, because there are so many books given, and these books are meant for different adhikars or different level of adhikars on people has, and therefore here Srila Madhavan Puripad is saying that I think this is sufficient for me, because uh, I can remember the great descent of the Krishna, the enemy of Kamsa, and I can be free myself from all sinful bondage. So Madhavan Puripad can be freed from material world just by remembering Krishna, and that is sufficient. So one may actually try to please different demigods, one may try to do different activities in this life, or one may just try to please Krishna. So trying to please Krishna has much more benefit than doing all the things. So if we see the activity wise, the activity may seem to be so many things people are doing, so many things, doing this charity, doing going there, doing that. So that is also good in one way, if we see, not doing bad things. But for devotees, the best thing is to go back to Godhead, to go out of material world. And therefore, sometimes devotees are accused that what you are doing, just sitting and doing bhajan kirtan and all, not actively participating in this thing, that thing. But actually, that is sufficient. And actually, one may go back to Godhead just by hearing and chanting. One need not do so many other things. And anyways, in this material world, whatever things one does comes to an end after the death comes. And again, one is forced to bear the reactions of the whatever things one does. But divorce service has no reaction and therefore can free oneself from the cycle of birth and death. And therefore, it is sufficient for the devotees to just hear and chant. The Vedic rites and rituals are imperative for neophytes, comprehending all kinds of prayers 3 times a day, taking a bath early in the morning, offering respects to forefathers, etc. But when one is fully in Krishna consciousness and engaged in the transcendental loving service, one becomes indifferent to all these regular principles because he's already attained perfection. So, for neophytes or new people, these rituals are very much necessary. That offering Gayatri 3 times a day, taking baths in the morning, and all. So, one should not prematurely give up all these things that offering respect to forefathers and all. But when one is in fully Krishna consciousness, fully in the Krishna consciousness, or one is practicing fully the rules and regulation of devotional service, that is Shravanam, Ketanam, Pada Sevanam, or offering deities and all the other angas of devotional service, then one becomes indifferent to all these regular principles, and he can attain perfection. If one can reach the platform of understanding by service to the Supreme Lord Krishna, he has no longer to execute different kinds of penances and sacrifice as recommended in the revealed scriptures. So, one need to understand this, that by service to Supreme Lord Krishna, he has no longer to execute different types of penances. So, one need not do so much penances and sacrifices which are recommended in revealed scriptures. So, this recommendation in the revealed scriptures is made for one who is not having bhakti adhikar. But one who has bhakti adhikar need not follow all the penance and sacrifice, but one does bhakti. And similarly, one if one has not understood that the purpose of Vedas is to reach Krishna and simply engage in the rituals, etc., then is uselessly wasting time in such engagement. So one is suppose following the Vedas very perfectly, doing all the rules and regulations in the Vedas, but one just engage in these Vedas but does not understand that the ultimate goal of the Vedas is to reach Krishna, then he is simply wasting time because it will not yield some permanent results. Persons in Krishna consciousness transcend the limit of the Shabda Brahma or the range of the Vedas and Upanishads. So, one who is doing devotional service, they transcend this range of Vedas and Upanishads. So, one follows the Bhakti Shastras, which are above the Vedas and Upanishads. So, this is very, very nice. So, again, further, Krishna says, श्रुति विप्रतिपन्ना ते यदा स्थास्यसि निश्चला समाधाव अचला बुद्धिस् तदा योगम अवाप्स्यसि. Shruti of Vedic revelation, vipratipanna, without being influenced by the fruitive results, te, your, yada, when, sasyasi, remains, nichala, unmoved, samadhav, in transcendental consciousness, or Krishna consciousness, achala, unflinching, buddhi, intelligence, tada, at that time, yogam, self-realization, avapsyasi, you will achieve. Transition. When your mind is no longer disturbed by the flowery language of the Vedas, and when it remains fixed in the trance of self-realization, then you will have attained the divine consciousness. So here Krishna is saying that when, so the flowery language of the Vedas means the result which gives that if you do this, you will get this, you will get, if you do this, and this is all flowery language of Vedas. So when one gets out of it, then one can remain fixed in self-realization. Purport. To say that one is in samadhi is to say that one has fully realized Krishna consciousness. That is, one in full samadhi has realized Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagwan. So, actually, to realize Krishna means one has to go know all these three things, that Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagwan. So, Brahman is the effulgence of Krishna, the bodily effulgence of Krishna. Paramatma is sitting in everybody's heart, is an expansion of Krishna, and Bhagwan we know Supreme Personality of Godhead. So the highest perfection of self-realization is to understand that one is eternally the servitor of Krishna, and that one's only business is to discharge one duty in Krishna consciousness. So when one understands this, that one has to do everything for Krishna's sake, then that is the perfection of self-realization. A Krishna conscious person or unflinching devotee of the Lord should not be disturbed by the flowery language of Vedas, or nor be engaged in the fruitive activities for the promotion to the heavenly kingdom. So, when one is a devotee of Krishna, one should not think that, oh, this is what Vedas give us. Sometimes what happens is the mantras in the Vedas are so charming, so attractive to hear, but it doesn't mean much. So devotee should not be disturbed, or should be concerned with all these things. In Krishna consciousness, one comes directly into communion with Krishna, and thus all directions from Krishna may be understood in that transcendental state. So when one comes in Krishna consciousness, then Krishna can give us all the ways how we can understand and how we can achieve Him. One is sure to achieve results by such activities and attain conclusive knowledge. One only has to carry out the orders of Krishna, or is representative the spiritual master. So actually, our work is very easy, because uh, spiritual masters, like we are reading Srila Prabhupada, so he is our main Siksha Guru from which teachings are coming, and he has made things so clear, so clear. Otherwise, to just understand who is Supreme Personality God is a great difficulty, because there are so many gods, demigods, so many people, and everybody say that this is the best, this is the good. But Prabhupada has made it so simple, and therefore uh, we have to just carry the orders of Krishna and represent that spiritual master. So that is the only thing we need to do, and that will make our life easy. So I will just take a uh, I will just yeah, I will just take a break of 1 or 2 minutes. Just I'm just coming in.